Good evening from London. It's an okayish late July afternoon here in London. And hello to all dear comrades, friends, and supporters from me, Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British Group for the Study of the Juche idea and chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK and the owner of this very self-same channel, Songam 007. The militant voice, Juche and Songam in the UK, defending people's career with no ifs or buts. And today, I thought I'd just wear casual dress. I'm in a white shirt today, but do not worry. I'll be wearing the jacket for videos just for a change. I'm just going to make a short video here about a very topical incident, the case of Sue Mai Terry, a so-called North Korea expert, quote unquote. This person is a former CIA agent and a member of the US Council for Foreign Relations, which is another very shadowy think tank type of body. And last week, Miss Terry was caught out in the US as she was indicted for breaking the rules and receiving payments other countries. The indictment against Miss Terry alleged that she received $37,000 from South Korea and designer handbags. And of course, Miss Terry was a part of the NK News gang, although they've now distanced themselves from her. But she was listed as an author on their website, but they've now hurriedly deleted any article that she has written for them. But there are still podcasts by NK News on which she is on. The scandal surrounding Miss Terry is just the tip of the iceberg and proves what I've been saying all along, which some people have dismissed, that the so-called quote-unquote North Korea experts and media pundits are all really paid by South Korea. There exist shadowy cabals of anti-DPRK propagandists who pose as so-called North Korea experts and are supposedly independent, but are in fact paid by South Korea or the US Central Intelligence Agency, or in fact both. This, of course, includes NK News, who love to pretend they are independent when they are not. I mean, last thing, NK News is independent. It's funded by the US Department of Defense, and I actually put in a freedom of information request to the Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office about NK News and got a very sort of evasive and weak answer from the FCDO, who tried to deny that they didn't fund NK News, but in fact did say they have a departmental subscription to NK News. So, yeah, NK News is actually receiving funding from the British government, although both sides are trying to hide it. And of course, if NK News didn't toe the line of South Korea, they would not be allowed to operate out of South Korea, which has strict anti-communist and laws and the national security law, which they would fall foul of and which they would be shut down within a week or two, or if not a day. So, I mean, it's total rubbish that they are independent. For years and years, South Korea has paid these so-called experts who just regurgitate what the South Korean puppets tell them. I know of at least 3 or 4 British academics, and there's probably a lot more, who are funded by South Korea. And one so-called academic authority on the DPRK, whom I'm not naming here, is pictured standing next to the South Korean unification minister. This is quite true. And some British universities receive South Korean funding. I was told a story once, back in the early 1990s, that South Korea invited British Labour MPs and gave Rolex watches and Hyundai cars to them. Another story I was told was about the British Museum. A DPRK delegation was coming to Britain, so a member of the British Museum staff kindly offered to give them a guided tour of the British Museum and show them the Korean gallery in the British Museum. Although they weren't actually banned from the museum, the delegation was told that no member of staff of the British Museum would guide them around the museum. They could just visit as ordinary visitors without VIP status. This was because the British Museum did not want to offend a South Korean businessman who had donated money to the British Museum. So, I mean, it's very much a case of the old adage that money doesn't talk, it screams, and he who pays the piper calls the tune. And some people on the left, who are, in my opinion, very cynical and very sceptical about the DPRK, they will say, oh, Cuba, people don't say these kind of things, and they seem to be quite dismayed and overwhelmed by the massive 24/7 anti-DPRK propaganda that is sort of pumped out. But part of the answer is a very simple one. It is paid for by South Korea. South Korea is paying so-called experts like Sumi Terry, like NK News, is paying journalists in the US, in Britain and elsewhere to print anti-DPRK stories. It is simple as that. It's not rocket science. One day the truth will out. And what I've done is to write the book, The Great Conspiracy Against People's Career, which has been republished as a new and enlarged edition with more information included. And this book is available through lulu.com. And I think it's a very detailed expose of what really goes on and about the attempts to overthrow Juche socialism. And of course, people like Sumi Terry, people like Yomi Park are just very tiny jigsaw that makes up the great conspiracy against people's career. Thank you for watching this video. If you're not already a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. And also, there's our affiliated channel, Korean Friendship Association of the UK. You can support us in many, many ways. by coming to our events is probably the best way. That way you get to learn more. We have both real life events and also a lot of online events for those who can't afford travel costs into London. Please check out our social media for details of them. You can also donate money to KFA UK and to myself. There'll be a link in the description. I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you for being with me, and I will be back very soon. Goodbye and have a great day.